Back here on the program, Taylor Twellman is here, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen.
Golf clap.
I will give a more appropriate welcome when the radio audience returns. You were just saying you were 7 days old when the
No, I was born 7 days afterwards.
After the Miracle
February
on Ice.
29th, 1980. My mom to this day still tells the story because they were in Minneapolis, Minnesota. It was like 6 or 7 below. The heater wasn't working. My dad's not handy at all, so she's under like 10 or 11 blankets, and then literally watched that game. And then I was born on Leap Day, whatever that would be. What that? 8 days later? No, 7 days later.
When do you celebrate your birthday then?
Do
the 28th
you've known
or the
me for a while,
1st?
pretty much every day of my life.
Attaboy.
Right? Just to make sure everyone
Attaboy.
understands how sad it is.
Attaboy.
28th and March 1st, guaranteed.
You do
Yeah,
you do
because the
both?
28th doesn't matter anyways, because that happens every year and it's not my birthday.
Right.
But I want people to feel sorry for myself.
I
So
like
you're
it, Taylor.
turning 7.
You're turning 7.
I appreciate that. I turned 11 last year.
Hey.
Yep.
God bless
So
you.
this year's a non-birthday year. So, yeah, it's great. I'll do a doubleheader on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV, and no one will know I turned 45.
Okay. Hey, so next year, invite me to the bar mitzvah.
Absolutely.
Will you do that?
Sure, no problem.
They'll do that for me.
Still won't. It's not a leap year. Like, I don't know if anyone can figure it out on the show. It's every 4 years,
That's
not
correct.
2 years.
That's correct. Every 4 years.
Why
they
did I
do.
say? I said 5 for 7.
Yeah, you said 5. No,
What
it's
is the
good
matter
idea,
with
Chris.
you?
I don't know. 11. You turned 11 last.
Great conversation.
Oh, this is fun. I've lost brain cells.
Taylor Twellman, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Hey.
MLS this year.
That's right. The 30th season of MLS action. We'll get to that in a second. But and you had tickets to the final last night?
Yeah, it's going to
You did?
be a tough one. Yes.
You had tickets, but you had to work.
I had to work, so work comes first.
Attaboy.
I would
Yep.
argue U.S.-Canada should have come first.
My gosh. So
I also walked out on 14th inning when the Red Sox started to come back in
Ladies and
2004.
gentlemen,
Wow.
Taylor Twellman, everybody, here on the Rich Eisen Show.
At the game?
From Apple TV, MLS Season Pass, the lead analyst is here in advance of the 30th landmark season of MLS action tomorrow, Saturday, February 22nd, here on the Rich Eisen Show as part of the Rich on the Pitch segment.
Oh, I
What do you
love
think
it.
of me and my kit right
I
there?
would tuck the shirt in a little bit. You're trying to be too much like Messi, but I'm not going to lie to you. You kind of look fit.
I appreciate that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I
You
appreciate
do.
that. You sound
I
a
would
little
two-foot
surprised.
you in 2 seconds.
Presented by Apple TV Season Pass. Ladies and gentlemen, Taylor Twellman on the program. So, what should we be all looking for, Taylor Twellman?
Does Messi win MLS Cup, first and foremost? I think that's the biggest storyline. When you set the record for most points in a regular season, you're named MVP. You have 36 goal contributions in only 19 games played because he got an awful slide tackle ankle injury in Copa America. Everyone's going to be wondering what comes next. If he's healthy, Rich, for 25-plus games, you're looking at 45 goal contributions. I mean, he's still that guy.
Still that guy.
He's that guy for Argentina in a World Cup qualifier. That's not a slide on MLS. It's just Messi's the unicorn. He still is the greatest player I think this sport's ever had. The other part is this, is that, and you and I have been talking about this league and this sport, the fact that we're in the 30th year, it needs to be celebrated because there was a time when I was playing, it was about survival. Now it's about thriving. And in about 18, 19 years ago, the MLS owners, led by Commissioner Don Garber, really looked at expansion. And they looked at it from a lens of, well, where are the markets that love soccer? And the two that came to the forefront every single time they talked about it, St. Louis, Missouri, San Diego, California. I just find it fitting that in the 30th year of the league, the 30th franchise is San Diego. And now you've got LAFC, LA Galaxy, San Diego. Now, all of a sudden, Southern California is really going to be a hotbed. I just think it's fitting that where this league has come from and where it is now, San Diego comes in the 30th year.
That is amazing, and that's why you are here to give us that sort of perspective here. And in regards to what we just saw, last night with the 4 nations for the NHL, and the reason why I bring this up is you could see, Team USA and Team Canada literally neck and neck, right? Well, at each other's necks on Saturday, and then neck and neck throughout this tournament. How, with the U.S., hosting the World Cup, or one of the hosts of the World Cup that's coming, How will we look at this MLS season and the talent that we're seeing through the prism?
It's a great question.
Thank you.
It is.
Of being on par or nearing par or what?
I mean,
what
Rich, it's the first thing I thought of. It's the first thing I thought of watching Four Nations. By the way, tip of the cap to the NHL.
No doubt.
Brilliant idea.
Right?
There's not a greater accomplishment or privilege as an athlete to represent your country. And the reason why the Four Nations blew the doors off everything is hockey players want to. They just don't have the opportunity to do so as often as soccer players do. You play for your club team, and then the international break comes and you play for your country. And so that's why it was such a huge hit. But the first thing I thought of is this World Cup coming up is in your backyard, both for the United States and Canada and Mexico. And what does that do for those three countries?
Correct.
For Canada, they've got their best generation of player ever. Hands down. They've got an American coach in Jesse Marsh. I think it takes them to another level. They may surprise people. But for the United States, I've been a huge problem with this, and I'll raise my hand calling this group the golden generation of American player. And I think in fairness to myself and others that have done so, we've never had a crop of American players playing at AC Milan, Chelsea, Juventus, Dortmund at the same time. So naturally you say, well, wait a minute, we haven't had this quality of player at the same time playing at the highest level in the World Club level. However, Rich, they don't have a signature win. And for anyone watching or listening, if Mexico is your signature win, my generation did that. The generations before me did that. Your signature win has to come against a top 10, top 7 country in the world in a big-time tournament. We're not going to get that answer until next summer because they only have the Gold Cup this summer, Nations League. So why do I answer that question in that way? Pressure's going to build. Pochettino's got to figure out who his 2 center backs are going to be in that opening game. He doesn't know that now. Who's his number 9? Is Pulisic healthy? Weston McKennie, Timothy Way, they're all operating at a good level. But we will not get that answer on what the potential and real expectation is for this U.S. team until the opening game of the World Cup, which is kind of crazy to say.
Yes.
Because every other generation's had World Cup qualifiers leading into it. We've had other friendlies where you can say, okay, that's a better barometer of where this group is. We don't know that with this group.
Well, again, just to bring everything together here, because, again, we got Al Michaels coming up in a half an hour to talk about the 45th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice that happened 7 days before you were born. Is that, you know, the friendly, if you will, that Team USA had against, you know, the Russians in Madison Square Garden before they went to Lake Placid was an unmitigated disaster.
Yep.
A total disaster, which is what set the stage for the Miracle. So when I'm watching the MLS 30th season, who should I be watching for that's going to be on this team to see if they have actually
It's a great question.
raised their level of play?
I would actually answer it with another one. Who's playing in MLS that we, myself, and others are not talking about that are going to play themselves onto the World Cup team?
Okay.
Because I promise you there's going to be 1 or 2 guys that are. Just they have. An interesting storyline for the American player, I would say, in Major League Soccer. 14-year-old Kevin Sullivan's playing for the Philadelphia Union. Manchester City deemed him 14. The best 14-year-old in the world. He's now 15. He's going to be playing at a good clip for Philadelphia Union. And then eventually he's going to move on and play for Manchester City. What happens if he bangs in 15 goals this year? Like, truly,
his age, he scores his age.
Yeah, what happens? Yeah, truthfully, I can't shoot my age in golf. I wish I could. Well, I can on 9, but neither here nor there.
Nice.
Point is, though, what happens? I'm not putting pressure on Kevin Sullivan, but what I'm using as an example is there's going to be a player or two that Pochettino has told me to my face and publicly. When he watches MLS games, there's going to be a guy in this league in 2025 that is playing regularly that he's not thinking of, that he's going to say in January of 26, I want to see you. And then it snowballs into the thing. He's got to go with his hot hand. And so there's many of different players. San Diego's got an interesting player, Luca De La Torre. He was in the national team, consistently in the national team, got an injury before the 22 World Cup, didn't go, playing regularly in La Liga. Then he hurts his ankle really bad. He's taken a risk for his European club career to say, I'm a San Diego kid. I want to go to San Diego. I want to play regularly. And the reason why he's doing it is Pochettino's going to watch him every single minute in this league. And it would not surprise me one iota if he plays himself right back into the national team program. Because the problem with the American player in Europe that isn't playing, Rich, those are not good reps because they aren't reps. So if you're going to play in Major League Soccer, play consistently, be accounted on for the intangibles of leadership and experience and all those other buzzwords that we use, there's going to be one or two players that you and I are going to do this next year before the 31st season of MLS. And I'm going to say these two players, they've got themselves a real shot. I think the Gold Cup this summer will be an interesting tournament. I think Brandon Vasquez is another player. Austin just paid $10 million for him. He's coming back from Mexico. I could see him score 18, 19, 20 goals, go to the Gold Cup, bang in 3 or 4 because he's a different profile. He's big, he's strong, he can run like the wind, something U.S. doesn't have in those spots. But it wouldn't surprise me a year from now if I can legitimately say these two guys just played themselves in the World Cup.
When you said those aren't real reps, what did you mean by that? What are you talking about?
If you are just training and practicing and not getting into games, in my opinion, when it comes to the World Cup, you're not ready.
Doesn't matter if you're at a major, big-time level. You're just not out there.
At my club on Saturday and Sunday, I'm a +2. Rich, at Tahoe,
What an answer.
I was scrambling to 2-putt from 35 feet. Cuz, why? That's real. I'm not saying the club on Sunday and Saturday, by the way.
Right.
You know me.
I
I'm a
understand.
degenerate gambler.
Of course.
Those are real, but
This
for
guy.
different reasons.
Right.
My point is, practice is fine, but we need U.S. players playing all the time, no matter where they are.
So what do you think it's going to all come out in the wash?
I do think it's a good World Cup. I do. And I do think this MLS season is one that...
And that springboards.
Yes,
what
I
you're
do.
saying.
Just because 30 markets, if you would have told me in 2005 that we as a league would be in 30 markets on a global media platform like Apple TV with this documentary that just came out, Onside, which, by the way, is as good as Drive to Survive as anything I've seen.
Yeah.
Same producer, director, no coincidence.
Right.
I just think we're at the precipice of saying, you know what, 2026 is really where this thing balloons, and I think this year is going to be a fun ride.
Yeah, the first episode's available for all MLS Season Pass subscribers from today through the 3rd of March. And the MLS Season Pass is the year 3 in partnership with Apple. And you and the World Cup and just so much is going down right now, man. This is exciting times.
It's just fun.
Sure,
By the way,
right?
+2.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
But keep mentioning that.
what a fraud!
congrats.
What a
Yeah.
fraud! I'm a
+2.
+2 at the club, and then you show up real and shoot 75.
Oh, you finished 8th in Tahoe.
Yeah, by the way, he's just
it's the 7th loser.
When he said he shoots his age in the on the front
That's
nine,
on a bad day.
give me
That's
a break.
Stableford.
That's a tremendous slouch. Yeah, Stableford. Yeah, that's 45 on that. Give me a break. You shoot 45 on a front nine. Get out of here. You would be
such a fraud.
livid. You would be livid
you'd
if you
quit.
made the turn at
Oh
45.
no, absolutely. I would quit and
quit.
I don't know, try to skate.
You would be absolutely livid on that front. So we had the MLS Cup here.
Yeah, we did.
It was great.
It was awesome.
You want to take a shot at who hoists it?
Ooh.
This bad boy. Look at that thing right there on my. That was
So,
on my desk.
I mean,
Beautiful.
I've already insinuated, and I'm looking at the odds. I find them very interesting in Vegas right now.
Okay.
FC Cincinnati went out and bought, for the first time ever, you can now buy players within Major League Soccer. It's not just outside. They paid $12 million for the Portland Timbers MVP candidate last year, Evander, and then spent a club record $15 million on a guy that can put the ball in the back of the net. They're plus 1,200.
Well, the Bengals should take a page out of that, right?
Hello.
You know what I mean?
Well, they should. They're
Okay.
gonna send T. Higgins to play right back for FC Cincinnati.
Actually, T. Higgins wants more
It was way
than
more
what
than
you
that.
just
Yeah.
said
Way more than that.
combined.
Yeah.
So I understand, but okay.
By the way, he's a 1B at best. Like, we got to be careful here that T. Higgins sets the bar for the wide receiver mark.
okay.
He's legit.
He's the best that's out there right
He's
now.
not better than the guy.
No, Jamar
next to him.
Chase. I
Right.
agree with
Okay.
you. Yes, correct.
So FC Cincinnati's interesting. Atlanta's interesting. I think LAFC, because of the Galaxy winning last year, are really motivated.
Okay.
First time since 2021. So my prediction will be LAFC in the final, and I think FC Cincinnati. I don't think Messi and Miami get to the MLS Cup final.
Oh man. But there
I'm
are.
just doing it for your clips.
I have a
Here on
feeling.
Roku.
I have a feeling there are some executives right around here in Southern California, maybe in Cupertino, that would like to see Messi though.
Absolutely.
Make this
Maybe.
run.
Maybe.
If he, maybe there might be
I got to drop off his coffee and wash his car in about an hour. So yeah, absolutely.
That's why you couldn't make the final last night. That was Rich on the Pitch, presented by MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. The 2025 MLS season is finally here. Catch Inter Miami's opening match versus NYCFC Saturday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time, and then the start of Sunday Night Soccer. The LA Galaxy against the aforementioned San Diego FC. 7 p.m. Eastern on Sunday, with no local blackouts or out-of-market restrictions, with MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. It's just an absolute blast.
This was fun, dude.
Before I let you go, you were saying, what about, I overheard you say in the North End in Boston last night, was because they were saying that was the toughest ticket maybe in the history of the TD Garden last night.
I've been there 24 years. Game sevens, all of that. Even Sean McDonough, who did a fantastic job calling
awesome.
it.
He is great.
He literally texted me and said, I've been here a long time. I've never seen the city the way it was like that.
No kidding.
Which is awesome. And by the way, all the conversation about the NBA doing something like that, good luck. Good luck with game management. They wouldn't even do it.
Road
management. Excuse me.
I hear you, and I'm just wondering, how to fix that. I just don't know if there's a fix, and I think the NHL did show how to make it work, and they used like a World Cup, like pool play. It was like a pool play World Cup, 4 teams, and we'll see who the top two advance.
They could add Russia eventually if that war ends and all that. Like there's two countries more probably, so you could probably have 6. But
next year they're not doing it because there's the actual Olympics. The actual nationalist,
which even builds
tournament.
more momentum then for the following year.
I just don't know. Again, to see it just that's one of the things that you just love when you're watching these football tournaments, right? That it means so much to these people
more than yourself,
who are already generationally enriched, right? And you saw that from the NHL players.
Agreed.
And it mimics what you see when you watch. You mentioned Gold Cup, World Cup, all of these cups, right?
It's the greatest honor for an athlete. But I'll tell you right now, I'd watch the U.S. versus the world in the NBA All-Star game. Problem is, the U.S. might be sweating a little bit. They might not want to play that game.
Hey man, it's you're not wrong. Like it's not the '92 Olympics anymore.
No, it's
I
not.
understand that, but
I'd watch it.
But putting it on the line, it would be amazing.
Absolutely,
even if it's just one game, because I don't know if the NBA would do like a week-long tournament.
I don't think you can.
You could. I mean, you could. You'd have to ask guys to play every other day.
You'd have to ask the Players Association for no back-to-backs for a year.
Maybe so. I don't know. But it's a pleasure to see you, man.
Always.
Thanks for making the time, as
I love
always.
being here.
And I love having you here as well. Everybody, again, check out the MLS Season 30. That's a landmark season that starts tomorrow. Taylor Twellman, check him out as the lead analyst on MLS Season Pass on Apple TV. Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.